Hi, this is Dave Hurwitz at ClassicsToday.com, and I want to talk about fillers. You know, those shorter pieces that you always find on the disc that's not the major work and that people sort of toss off and add, and nobody seems to care about them terribly. I mean, I do care about them. There are some that I love, and I know there are some that you love. You know, overtures, short concert pieces, and they deserve as much love and care and attention as any major works, but people seem to ignore them, and I'm not going to. I'm going to be doing a lot of these videos where we talk about fillers, and today's filler is by Debussy. It's the Danses for Harp and Strings, Danses Sacrée et Danses Profane. I mean, they're beautiful works. They're absolutely wonderful, haunting and mysterious and tinged with modal harmonies and the sort of gentle waltz of the second one. I mean, it's just wonderful. They get played by everybody, and often not very well. Every harpist, of course, can do them. They're standard repertoire. And, you know, conductors, they're not hard to conduct. You know, sometimes they're done in a chamber version with like a string quintet and a bass, but most of the time with full orchestra. They're not as easy to bring off as you might think because there are always issues of balance between the harp and the strings, but also even though technically there are few harpists who can't handle them, there's actually quite a big difference in tone between various harpists. I mean, they can sound sensual and gorgeous and lush and liquid, or they can sound like a banjo. I mean, and some of them really do. And also, there's a question of how much dynamic range they can bring out of the instrument. And so the performances vary quite widely. I mean, I remember, for example, hearing Bernard Haitink and the Concertgebouw, who do beautiful Debussy quite most of the time anyway. And I found their performances completely bland and the sound of the harp thin and unappealing. So a coupling like that can make or break a disc. You might hear a fabulous performance of a symphony or an orchestral work or a large tone poem, and then you hear this encore, and you just go, bleh, what was that, So there are two recordings of these dances that I think are particularly extraordinary. And I have to tell you, I'm a sucker for harp music, and I've collected probably all of them. I mean, I've heard dozens and dozens of them. The first is the old Pierre Boulez, on Columbia with or Sony now, with the Cleveland Orchestra and Alice Chalifou. It's an absolutely beautiful performance, typically clean in the Boulez manner, but also full of that kind of color and tension that you get when you have a harpist who really knows what she's doing, really knows how to play her instrument, and strings that have the necessary warmth and precision to give the music shape. It doesn't just meander and sort of noodle around the way some performances do. However, my absolute favorite is this one, Igor Markevich, who we've talked about in connection with Berlioz's The Damnation of Faust, with the L'Amoureux Orchestra, and their harpist, Suzanne Cotel. I just think this performance has everything. I mean, it's so completely atmospheric and shapely in its phrasing, and it really makes the pieces sound like an important major work. Here's the end of the second dance, just so you can get a sense of what I'm talking about. I mean, it has all of that fulsome rapture and flow that you want the music to have. Here we go. Now, wasn't that gorgeous? I mean, isn't it just beautiful? So if you're looking for a recording of the Debussy dances, this also comes, by the way, with an absolutely terrific La Mer and the Images with Michael Tilson Thomas and the Boston Symphony. It's a great disc if you can find it. It was on French Deutsche Grammophon. But get this recording of the dances with Markevich, the L'Amoureux Orchestra, and Suzanne Cotel. You won't be sorry. Thank you, and keep on listening.